Hey,
Hey yo,
Swole.
everybody!
Oh,
Welcome to the Purple People Podcast. I know Mr. Smith is out of action today, so I wasn't sure whether me or Mr. West were going to take care of this duty of saying hello to everybody and welcoming you to the Purple People Podcast. But I guess I'll hop in and do it. Why not, right?
heck yeah, episode number 622, I think.
I don't know. That's a big number.
There's probably more than that because I'm assuming at some point our numbering has got off. There's, there's no way we've done 622 episodes without messing up the number system.
Yeah, there's got to be a mistake in there somewhere.
Let's say we're at 625. Let's give us a head start.
I know we've done a couple like little standalone ones that I don't know if we counted.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
So I think I remember like you going live with like a 53 man when they did the trim and all that kind of stuff a long
We
time ago.
we did that. I remember we did a very brief live episode when Percy Harvin got traded to the Seattle Seahawks. That
Right?
I don't think that one counted against our numbers on there as well either.
Yeah, but still, I mean, we've been going for, what, 13 years now? Something like that?
A long time. Well, it was we started. Was it 2010?
I
Was it
want to say
Brett?
12.
Ah, see, I thought it was Brett Favre's second year with the Vikings, 2010.
I don't know, we'll have to go back and check that out one of these days.
Now, someone go back in the archives and tell us when we started because we've been doing it so long that Adam and I don't remember.
But if you notice, we are not talking about that Bears game right now because I watched it and don't want to talk about it, and Mr. West hasn't even seen it.
Yeah, I'm in a very busy time at work right now, so no, I have not had the opportunity to sit down and watch the Vikings game. We got Charlotte here with us, who said they are trying to get online. We
There you
appreciate
go.
we appreciate you and Jonathan joining us. I think Adam and I are going to have a bit of a therapy session where we're going to vent about the
Oh, yeah, that's
Minnesota
the plan.
Vikings. And I'm glad that you guys are feeling the same. We don't want to talk about it either, but we're still going to.
I also heard a lot of people are having problems with that, what is it, Cloudflare outage?
I haven't heard. What's this?
When Twitter/X and a bunch of other websites were down today.
Oh, no, I didn't know that. I haven't been online at all today, Adam.
Well, I don't use X anymore, and I've been pretty much hanging out on Facebook lately because that's where a lot of my friends and family are. That and I spent today on Ticketmaster trying to get tickets to go see Weird Al in Duluth.
I was just seeing he's coming near me. He's coming to what was it, Sioux City, maybe something
There
like
you
that.
go.
I was thinking like, man, I wonder how much tickets are. That would be fun. I would go see Weird Al in concert.
Oh yeah, we ended up getting our tickets and we are ready to roll. I know it's like not until March or May or June or something like that, but that's okay. Might as well
It's
plan
bad.
it out, you know.
It's bad, Charlotte, when the paper on macroeconomics is more entertaining than the Minnesota Vikings.
This was such a frustrating game because it was another one of those where Minnesota totally could have won, but they kept making unforced errors and shooting themselves in the foot and doing silly things, and it just made me
I
mad, especially with the Bears on top of the division right now.
I know I was keeping up with the score and the box ticker when I was at work during the game, and I remember looking down at one point, and this was a ways into the game, and I think McCarthy had two interceptions at that point, and his QB rating was like a 14. It was not good.
Yeah, he seemed a little off all day, whether it was overthrowing or just miscues or whatever it was. The good news is that the offensive line seemed to clean things up, and they didn't allow a single sack, which is impressive.
That's a positive.
And I know we said it like a couple shows ago, but Blake Brandell moving to center and filling in has been big for this team.
Yeah, he's actually done a really solid job. That's a really difficult position that I don't know if he's ever really truly played before. To just kind of, hey, by the way, this is what you're doing. Like, I give him all the credit in the world for doing that.
And I know Ryan Kelly might be back here soon, and that puts Brandell back out as a backup, but for what he's been able to do in the absence of some of these offensive linemen. Like, didn't he fill in for Donovan Jackson too when he was out?
Yeah, he did.
He's been plugging in all over the place.
Those are my favorite kind of offensive linemen. I love the tough, gritty guys who can just go in and play multiple positions and they do it well. Like those are your unsung heroes kind of on the team.
I mean, we're still gonna do like a game ball and a donkey and stuff for this game, but I don't think we're gonna go in depth the way Mr. Smith does with all the stats and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much there is to, like I said, I've kind of only seen the chatter on social media and a couple of the highlights or lowlights or whatever you want to call them of that game. I think that there's a big picture conversation that I think Adam and I are kind of going to go into here in a little bit. But as always, if anyone in the chat has anything that you would like to talk about and discuss, feel free to shoot it our way, and we will always be happy to talk about that as well.
To me, I only have two game ball options, so I'll let Mr. West go first so that we can hit both of them probably.
I actually didn't pick a game ball, so you can give away two of them.
Well, okay. In my article over on the Viking Age, I had two winners, and I feel like Will Reichert still has been on an absolute roll with
Heck
his
yeah.
kicking,
Yep.
and it's never good when your kicker has to be your game ball for several weeks in a row. Not good. But I also felt like Jordan Mason filling in when I think he had like almost 5 yards of carry and scored a rushing touchdown and kind of opened the gates for Minnesota to be able to be in this game. I want to give him that kind of credit. I mean, Aaron Jones had a solid game too, and once Kevin O'Connell made the change to really focus on running the ball, I felt like things were better. Things were working out better on offense.
Yeah, that's the key, especially I think with a rookie quarterback like McCarthy, is that you have to lean on the run. And Aaron Jones, to me, has shown that he is, when he's healthy, he is the kind of player that like you want to give the ball to. He will make plays with it. Uh, we talked a little bit about what his future with the team might be, and I do kind of lean towards I think you want him back for another season.
Oh yeah, him and Jordan Mason are a nice 1-2 punch, and you know, keeping Aaron Jones' snap count lower will keep him on the field longer and extend his career and make him a more effective runner. And it's all good when you can get that mix of Jones and Mason in there.
Yeah, there's a few veteran players that I'm kind of out on in terms of coming back next year, but Aaron Jones is one that I would like to see come back in purple for another season. And I definitely think that you could look in the draft, you could look on maybe adding another piece to that group. Like I'm not saying don't do that, but like leaning on the two that we have right now, that's a really solid room. I'm okay with that.
One really nice thing from that game is that Harrison Smith played his 200th game as a Minnesota Viking.
Outstanding.
You don't get a lot of that in this league. A team or players sticking around as a team that long and being that effective for so long.
Yeah, there
You
you
gotta
go.
love seeing it.
There you go. So I'll give my game ball to Harrison Smith for game number 200. That is a hell of an achievement for, one of my favorite, the Minnesota Vikings defensive players of all time. And we've talked about whether or not he should make the Hall of Fame. I think you can make a really nice case for that. But he will for sure one day be going into the Vikings Ring of Honor.
Hall of Fame might be a hard case unless something happens to where he can get a ring, and I don't see it happening.
Probably not, but
And that's not really fair, I don't think.
it's not, and I don't think that there are other players in who don't have rings, but he probably won't be first ballot. He would be a guy that's going to have to wait a little bit, but
Right.
I can see them making a really strong case for him. I think players who play respect what he's done individually as a player and what he's been able to accomplish for as long as what he was able to accomplish it as.
We got Johnson in chat here saying that his game ball goes to Miles Price, who had a real nice day as a returner.
There you go.
Gotta love seeing that. He gave his donkey to special teams for giving up that big return at the end of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard a lot of Vikings fans being real frustrated with the special teams unit right now too. And it's interesting because we've had so many kicking problems, and the kicker is probably the one part of special teams, kicker punter, that I'm really happy with.
Right.
Yeah, it's sort of the opposite problem of what we've had.
Now, for a donkey, it's easy to go right to J.J. McCarthy because, you can't complete 50% of your passes and throw for 150 yards and say that you're getting the job done. That's not it.
I know. I don't want to say that I'm giving him a pass for a poor performance, but I'm still kind of giving him a pass for a poor performance, Adam.
We do kind
Uh,
of have to keep it in mind that this is his 5th game as a pro.
Five. Right. Right on, man. Only the fifth game. And I know expectations for this season were really high. And it felt like, oh, we're bringing in some good, solid veterans and we're trying to insulate the kid with, an upgraded offensive line and X, Y, and Z that we've done for him. But it is only, like you said, it is only game number five.
And the defense has been doing a solid job of keeping the Vikings in some of these games, so I don't want to go anywhere on defense with a donkey.
Yeah, I'm going higher up with my donkey. I'm going higher up even than the coaching staff with this one. I am giving this one a little bit to Quessy. I think that you kind of look at some of the issues that are facing this team, and it sort of comes down to roster construction. And you look at, okay, so special teams, you draft and develop guys, and usually they make their way on the field through special teams. And
Right.
when you're not having that good special teams unit, is a reflection, in my opinion, of you're not drafting super well because you're not having that right talent level out there. So I think that's where I'm going with my donkey on this one.
I know special teams made some mistakes, but this has been a lot cleaner against Chicago, especially than it was against teams like in the Baltimore game. That special teams unit was really struggling. I felt like they
Yeah,
cleaned it up a little bit against Chicago, and then it looked a little better, but still needs some help.
it definitely does, and I don't know with the pieces and parts that we have in place right now if it's going to get any better than where it's currently at.
The one thing I know for sure is that the offense needs to find a way to stay on the field a little bit longer because that time of possession was crazy, and that Vikings defense was exhausted.
Yeah, anytime you're leaving your defense out there on the field, like it doesn't matter how good they are, like you're gonna get tired.
And there's some big boys on the Vikings defense, and to be out there working that hard for that long, they are gonna just be moving slow, tired, sweaty, exhausted the whole 9 yards. I think that's why we saw. I know there were complaints about Minnesota taking timeouts towards the end of the game, but what are you gonna do? Your defensive linemen are sitting out there just panting like dogs stuck in a hot car.
Right. I heard Dallas Turner had a little bit more playing time out on the field.
He did. I thought he looked actually really good,
Yeah.
and that's because Johnson Grenard was out.
Yep. Well, there you go. People have been really hard on Dallas Turner to the point that I'm seeing the bust label being thrown on his name already. And can you say you've expected a little more from him? Yeah, okay, that's fair based on where he was drafted. But I'm nowhere near ready to call Dallas Turner a bust.
No.
I think that there's some good depth at that position around him, and it takes guys like we use Everson Griffin as an example. Everson took 3-4 years before he finally worked his way up into that starting lineup.
And look how long it took Brian Robinson to get in there.
Yeah, that was another what 3-4 years before he finally worked his way up into that starting lineup.
And
So
both those guys were excellent edge rushers.
yeah, I know, and so that's kind of the same conversation where I'm at with both McCarthy and Turner. We gotta lay off the bust label here a little bit. And I know Kyle Smith would disagree with me on that because he is out completely on JJ McCarthy.
Well, right now, the main word is patience, and a lot of people don't have it, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, the worst thing to happen, weirdly enough, might have been winning, what we win, 14 games last year?
Yeah.
That might have been the worst thing that could have happened to this franchise, because the expectation coming in is that, oh, well, McCarthy is going to maintain or be better than a 14 win season his rookie year, and essentially his rookie year. And that doesn't happen.
I gotta admit, it felt a little more reassuring to see Sam Darnold go up against the Rams and just absolutely have a terrible game where he throws 4 picks and doesn't score a touchdown. But, that's what do you expect? That's him going against the Rams, a team that dominated him twice when he was in Minnesota.
Right. Rams are a really good team.
Yeah, they seem to really have his number, and I don't know what it is, but they've got him down. Meanwhile, in Minnesota, we're trying to figure out what J.J. McCarthy has to do to get things kind of figured out a little bit. I know Justin Jefferson said he wants to work with McCarthy a little bit more and find that connection, because right now it almost looks like Addison is his preferred target.
Yeah, I wonder if that has anything to do with, maybe, I don't know if he was more in off season, like if they worked together more in the off season, or if they were paired up more in training camp or whatever. But
And when things get clutch, it looks like he actually migrates a little bit to going towards Naylor.
yeah, that's interesting. I've noticed that too.
But yeah, this team, I don't really know what to think of it all, and I know that there might be some changes this offseason. I don't know if they're gonna be looking to pay some of the players that are making big money, TJ Hawkinson, Josh Oliver, some of these guys that are making a lot of money and haven't really seen the payoff to those contracts lately.
Yeah, I know. I do think that there is some changes that are going to be coming in the off season. You're right. I think TJ Hawkinson, you're you're not paying him. I don't have the over the cap numbers in
I think
front of
he's
me.
due about $20 million.
It's a substantial amount, and I like Hawkinson, but
Oh, me too.
ever since he came back from that injury, he hasn't been as explosive as what he was before. I don't want to say he's struggling, but he's kind of struggled a little bit out there. So I'm not. Could you reduce his salary and keep him in as more as a tight end too, potentially? But that's a player that I think if you have to move on from, you would do that.
And what's kind of bad about this whole situation is that Minnesota might have a good draft pick, but they also will need to beef up that defensive secondary. So I don't really know if you're making a pick and you're trying to improve your offense, where do you go in the draft? Because you don't really need a receiver that much.
You, I mean,
Offensive
okay,
line is kind of intact. I know that you want to get a more solid center, and injuries have kind of demolished the whole thing. You want some depth, but you don't really draft offensive line depth in the first or second rounds, or even the third, really, almost.
yeah, you don't. I don't know. Ryan Kelly is still a question mark for me. Even if he comes back and plays really good for the remainder of the season, boy, I don't know if I'm putting my eggs back in that basket for him to stay healthy, throughout the offseason, throughout training camp, because the guy feels like he's a concussion away from having to step back from the game entirely.
Right.
I'm a little afraid, even though I think that he's a damn good player, I'm afraid to put my eggs in that basket. Uh, you might be looking at receiver. Adam Thielen is cooked. I mean, he's gone after this year. Uh, Addison is probably taking a bigger payday elsewhere. Um, you might have a little bit of a hole out there, but based on where this team is, the construction of the roster, I'm not spending a first round pick on a receiver right now.
I feel like some of these problems, especially at wide receiver, might have not been as big of a deal if there hadn't been that season-ending injury to Rondale Moore before the season even
Right,
started.
right.
Well, that and the rookie they drafted has been kind of regulated to special teams, and
Yeah, Ty Felton.
there's got to be a reason for that.
Had really high hopes for Ty Felton coming into this year. We've seen him on special teams. He made a good tackle
Yeah.
couple games ago. So he's out there doing his thing. I would like to see him get more of an opportunity. And I'll just look. We all love Adam Thielen. I love
Oh
Adam
yeah,
Thielen.
without a
I
doubt.
got his jersey in my closet. Got his autograph hanging on my wall. I really don't know why you're still playing him any snaps at this point. I would rather get Ty Felton on the field or Naylor more snaps on the field.
Well, what was crazy is that in Carolina, Adam Thielen really helped out a rookie quarterback, young and inexperienced,
He
and
did.
I was really hoping he could come to Minnesota and do that for J.J. McCarthy, and hasn't really been much of the case.
I don't understand what happened with Thielen. He looks not only like he's lost a step, he looks like he's lost about 2 steps out there on the field. Like he is about as done as I've seen a wide receiver playing.
Yeah, the Vikings right now, I don't know what it's going to take to make this offense step forward, and I got to ask you because I'm really curious about
Okay.
this. How do you feel about the 9 persona?
Oh, I dislike that. I don't. The kid's young. He's what, 22?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's whatever. It's you all say stupid shit when you're 22. And I understand the mindset and the mentality that he's going for. I don't hate that broad level. What I dislike is that you didn't need to tell anyone this. Like if you're going to say if you're saying that, boy oh boy, I need you to be really good on the field.
Is it better or worse than Mr. Unlimited?
Yeah, they're both pretty terrible.
They are pretty bad. But Minnesota, one problem they really had in this game that really made me mad is that they made Caleb Williams look like a guy that couldn't be tackled.
Yeah.
And I know he is a bit elusive and he can work with his feet and get out there, but he was making some of these Vikings defenders look silly.
Yeah, and that's an area that I think where if I'm looking at where I'm spending my first round pick next year, it's somewhere in the defensive backfield, whether it be a corner or a safety. Like that's probably where I'm leaning towards.
Yeah, you kind of got to do something like that because there were quite a few third and longs given up, and that can't happen.
I truly want that shutdown corner. Oh, of course I want it. Everyone wants a shutdown corner, but like those years that we had Xavier Rhodes out there and he was
Right.
in his prime, and you could, no matter what else is going on defense, it was Rhodes closed out there on his receiver, and he could truly lock someone down. Like
And I know he wasn't like essentially a shutdown corner, but I loved watching Antoine Winfield cut off the field.
Antoine Winfield was amazing, amazingly underrated player. Probably rated well in Vikings fandom, but I don't think outside of like Vikings fans, I don't think everyone else realized how good Antoine was.
But yeah, I really feel like Minnesota's going to be focusing on improving that defensive secondary this offseason. That's something that has to happen. The only problem, like I said, is offensively. I don't see where they can make a lot of changes to make things better for J.J. McCarthy.
McCarthy just has to man up and figure it out on the field. Like it's on him.
Is this a situation where Kevin O'Connell, who was coach of the year last year, by the way,
Yeah.
has to sit down with his staff and J.J. McCarthy and just, talk this out and see what's going on?
I think so. I wonder if it's a little bit too where we have to dial the playbook completely back for McCarthy.
Because he looked a little anxious. He was putting a lot of zip on passes that didn't need a lot of zip. I think he needs to decide, okay, I need to know when to rifle this in, when to put a little bit of touch on it.
Right.
Because he was throwing these really, really hard passes that the Vikings pass catchers were just having bounce off their hands, and it looked like they were drops, but McCarthy could have put that a lot easier on some of those throws.
And you're asking a lot for a kid who maybe wasn't asked to pass the ball as much as other quarterbacks in college, on being able to learn that touch, and that's also too why I kind of question. I go back and I look at the team maybe not playing him as much in preseason, and I know it's because they didn't want him to get injured. But
Right.
I do think that some more reps out there would have been beneficial for him. I mean, if you really stop and think about it, back in the old days when quarterbacks, players in general, would play through 3 or 4 preseason games, I mean, he's kind of just getting out of the reps that he would have had in a preseason at this point.
Yeah.
That's how early it is for McCarthy. And so while I'm frustrated with him too, and while I agree with Jonathan, you can have flashbacks of Christian Ponder out there on the field, it's still so early to definitively say one way or another what this kid is. We don't know yet.
But what makes it hurt even more is seeing the success of guys like, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Bo Nix. They're out there getting wins, helping their team win games, and JJ McCarthy isn't quite doing that.
Yeah, and I don't, again, you don't want to knock a player for injury. But okay, so he misses his rookie season because of injury. He comes back, he has the ankle sprain where he misses a duration because of that. And then this past week, his throwing hand hit the top
Yeah,
of
he hit it
someone's
against the helmet.
hit it against someone's helmet, which hey, that's a thing that happens in the NFL. But then you're talking about maybe missing more during those reps that you get during the week.
And right now, if JJ McCarthy were to leave the game, I don't know who would come in.
Max Brosmer, it would have to
Who's
be
the other
him.
quarterback they signed?
I don't remember his name.
It's the backup from the Rams, right? From a few years ago.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
I don't have the name on my tongue either. I just.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Oh, John Wolford. That's what it was.
Better memory than I got, Adam, on that one.
It took me a moment, but it got there.
And that was one of the concerns that I had about roster construction was how when you look back, I kind of feel like they didn't take the backup spot all that seriously throughout the offseason. And like we said, okay, so they made the move for Sam Howell. None of us hated it, but when it became apparent that that wasn't the direction that you probably needed to stick with, I don't ever feel like they did enough to address bringing in that veteran backup early enough. And then we were bringing in Carson Wentz off the couch last minute when he had no real time to learn the offense and work with the receivers and do all that stuff. And then he gets injured, and we're kind of right back to where we're rolling with no veteran in that room again.
And the Vikings were rolling Wentz out there with that injury and keeping him on the field, and that was all wrong.
That was awful what they did to Carson Wentz. He's not my favorite player, but like on a human level, I disagree with how injured he was when they put him out there on the field. Like that was some total bullshit. That those are the kind of moves that really make you question what are we doing behind the scenes right now?
And the Vikings just brought a new trainer in recently, so with all these injuries and everything, I don't know how much is going to get pinned on him this offseason. Because, like we were talking about in our private chat, there will be some scapegoats that are going to have to take the fall or take some sort of responsibility for what happens this season. And I don't know who it's going to be.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think like what's the threshold where
Because Kevin O'Connell ain't going anywhere.
right, what's the threshold that when you cross it you're saving more people's jobs? Like
Right.
if you're a 7-win team, does that keep your front office intact? Like if you're below 7 wins, are you then pivoting towards now we got to make bigger moves? The only person who can answer that is Mark and Ziggy Wilf. And
Right.
I don't know about you, but I don't have their number saved in my phone. I can't call them. So I don't know what they're thinking. We can speculate.
Now, as an ownership, I know how much they put into this team, not only financially, but they are proud of this team and they expect wins.
Right.
So I don't know how they feel about this team right now, and that might be, as you said, one of the biggest questions heading into the offseason.
Pure speculation, but this is what makes it fun. So I think that Mark and Ziggy Wilf were probably sold, hey, we've got a rookie quarterback, but we're going to spend a lot of money and we're going to bring in some veteran pieces and we're going to roll this back as best as we can. And we truly think that we are going to be able to match what we did last year, in 2025 with JJ McCarthy. It's very apparent that that is not going to happen. So, like you said, who is going to get blamed for this? Well, it's not Kevin O'Connell.
Now,
We know.
like you were saying though, about half the roster on this Vikings team right now wasn't here last season.
Right. Right. And I think we could be looking at another off season where half the roster who's here right now is not here next year.
It's kind of wild to think about that because this is a team that won a lot of games last year, made the playoffs, and right now I don't even want to say the word Vikings and playoffs in the same
They're
sentence.
they're nowhere near headed towards the playoffs right now, Adam. Um,
But it's way too early to sit here and be talking about, the Vikings need to get a good draft pick. We're not there yet either. We're in that part of the season right now where it's kind of like confusing because you want the team to win, but you also know that the playoffs aren't really super realistic right now.
I know. I mostly want to see McCarthy start to show steady improvement. I think I said that the last couple weeks now, where I'm not concerned so much about wins or losses, but show me that you're headed in the right direction. Right now, we're headed in the wrong direction. We're not
And that's
looking.
what the season is all about now. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, the playoffs aren't in the picture. We're not. This isn't a Super Bowl caliber team at all. And we are looking at a roster right now that is going to have to be patient while JJ McCarthy develops. And in the meantime, we're seeing guys get frustrated. And we've seen some of that frustration from a lot of guys, even like Justin Jefferson, who a lot of fans are like taking to the internet and saying, oh, you're wasting Justin Jefferson's best years.
that's Kyle Smith. If we can pick on him, he's really adamant that we're just like Jefferson is going to be gone after this season, and I don't necessarily agree with that. For one thing, he's under
I could
contract.
see the frustration there, and Justin Jefferson wanting to make a bigger impact, but he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would force his way out. I think he wants to win with this team.
Right. Yeah, for one thing, he's under contract, so we hold all the cards
And
on.
he's getting paid pretty good.
He's getting paid very well.
And you
I,
didn't see like, a lot of those people in the Bengals. You didn't see like Jamar Chase saying, "Oh, I want out because Jake Browning can't get me the football."
he might have been thinking that about Jake Browning.
He might have.
I would have been thinking that about Jake Browning, but I just thinking about maybe what moves they're going to make on the coaching staff. I think that this is the year that Brian Flores gets more of a. He's going to get more of a look somewhere. Like I could see him taking that head coaching job elsewhere. So we might be looking at an overhaul out there on defense again, Adam.
But the one thing about Brian Flores that I won't say absolutely say, but that I firmly believe, I don't think Brian Flores will take a lateral job. I don't see him like going to
No,
another team as the defensive coordinator. For
no,
him to
he's
leave Minnesota, he would have to get a shot as a head coach.
right.
Which to me, that is a great thing. I mean, it shows how passionate he is about the Vikings and wanting the Vikings to win. But I wouldn't blame him one bit for taking a head coaching opportunity if it came his way.
Yeah, and I also think that he's going to be pretty selective about where he goes. Like, I don't. Will he interview with the Giants? Probably. Will he? Would he take that job if it was offered to him? I don't know. I don't know. The Giants sure do roll through head coaches like no one's business. I'm not sure if that's the best fit for anyone.
While we're talking about the Giants, I kind of want to take a little step to the side, but Cam Scatterbo might be one of the most interesting people on the planet, but have you ever watched some of his Twitch streams?
I no, I haven't.
They are definitely interesting. He has been getting hit like some of his clips sent around to different NFL teams because he asks people, "Do you tilt a taco when you eat a taco, or do you tilt your head?" And people have been like asking everybody all that, and then of course, on Monday we saw him on Monday Night Raw, and he was doing that kind of stuff, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I caught that. He's a natural fit for the WWE.
Oh, absolutely. But getting back to the Vikings, this whole season, I don't know if you want to say it feels like a wash because it doesn't really feel like a wash. Because Minnesota, they do only have one loss in the division right now, and the record isn't awful. But you gotta really wonder about the future right now, as far as past this season. Because right now we both, I think, agree that this season is to develop JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, correct.
But
Yep.
what does this say about next year? Is that going to be a continuation of this?
Hopefully, a continuation in a positive way. Like I said, the hope is that he grows towards the right direction as we end this season out and we end it on a positive note where we go, okay, we have something that we can build upon. It's going to be imperative in this off season though, even if he does start to pull it off and hey, he looks pretty good, they have to seriously address the backup quarterback position better than what they did because you don't know if the kid is going to stay healthy. So far, he's proven that he can't. And I
I mean, look
don't
at like
want,
the backup situations in Green Bay and New York and some of these other teams. They got guys that can step in and be competitive.
yeah. And no offense to the guys, our backups right now, but I don't, Max Brosmer, that's not a competitive
To me, he's
backup.
another question mark. Sure, there's potential there, but I'm not ready to plug him into a starting lineup.
I wouldn't want to. I think that would,
What would it take this season for you, as if you were the Vikings head coach, to bench JJ McCarthy?
you don't. Not nothing. I don't think anything benches McCarthy this year. He would have to have one of the worst performances in the history of the NFL. Like you would have to throw 4 or 5 picks in one game and just look absolutely lost on the field.
Because I know you didn't really get to hear it, but during that game, the crowd was booing very loudly.
Wow, really?
Like, I haven't heard that much booing since the Ponder days, and I don't even know if they were that bad then.
I was talking about this with a coworker, and maybe my memory is going bad here too. But I know we know Ponder fizzled out, but I remember him starting okay. Like I remember there being an okay start to Christian Ponder. He had his ups, he had his downs, but there were moments where you were like, he looked pretty good. Hey, he looked pretty good in that game. He looked pretty good in that drive. That was a nice throw that he made out there on the field. I haven't seen that from McCarthy yet, and that is what's a little concerning. Okay, I shouldn't say that entirely. I mean, he had a
We've been
fourth
getting a few
quarter.
good quarters of football.
There's been a couple good quarters of football out there, but it doesn't feel like he's had that start to finish game where you're like, he looked like he belonged through 4 quarters of football on the field.
But also, Christian Ponder got to come in after we got to see whatever horrible things that Donovan McNabb was trying to do.
And he also had, no offense to Aaron Jones, but Ponder also had 28 in the backfield
That's
that
true.
covers up for a lot of your mistakes. He had that, and he had Kyle Rudolph, underrated tight end that he could just dump the ball off to, and Rudolph was one of Ponder's favorite targets.
And one of the biggest problems right now is JJ McCarthy is trying to fill in for quarterback on a team that won 14 games last season and shot expectations through the roof. And, national champion at Michigan, expectations were wild.
I really think I'm going to be really curious what the Wilfs do in this offseason, Adam. Uh, you could potentially be looking at like Josh McCown. He's our quarterbacks coach. He
Yeah.
could potentially be a guy that okay, we're gonna place some blame on him for not having the proper development for McCarthy. Maybe he's a guy that you ship out. Wes Phillips, maybe potentially could be part of the blame. Um, Even though we all kind of know that this is Kevin O'Connell's offense. He's the
Right.
primary play caller, but maybe Wes Phillips is a guy that could be on his way out for the team. There are some fan speculation that maybe we'll go for a big name coordinator. I don't see it.
I don't see it either.
I don't. They're not going after a Brian Dayball. They're not going after who's the Miami head coach, Mike McDaniel.
Right.
I don't. They're not doing that. Like that to me, I don't think is in Kevin O'Connell's DNA. He is the play caller. He is the quarterback coach. That's his thing. That's where he got started. I don't see him bringing in a Mike McDaniel and saying, "Okay, call. I'm giving you full reins to the playbook." I just don't see that.
Yeah, this offseason is going to be super interesting because I have no prediction as far as what they're going to do to make changes because changes will need to happen and winning games will solve every problem. But
Right.
how do you get there?
And the GM just got, I believe, a 4-year contract extension.
Right.
Could you? It would not be unheard of to. We just gave him an extension, but we're going to move on from him already. I mean, that's in the realm of possibility. I think it's more likely that they would look towards someone like Ryan Grigson, who was brought in. He was the former Colts GM. I think he might be assistant general manager on the team. He's kind of the football operations guy. And so if you were looking at kind of a fall guy to blame your football operations side on, Ryan Grigson could potentially be the guy on the hot seat to jettison and move out. Because I don't think you move on from Quasey just yet,
No, I don't
which
think
is a
so either.
which is kind of a bold take on social media at the moment. There's a lot of people saying that he needs to go. I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't see that either.
No, but I
But
do
yeah,
think
right now the social media reaction to all this Viking stuff is definitely negative,
oh,
and
oh,
it's hard to listen to.
right. The more I think about it, the more I'm talking myself into Ryan Grigson is out, and you bring in another football czar, another football expert who's kind of going to come in and kind of help
Rick
lead.
Spielman?
You bring Rick Spielman back. Actually, no, I'm kidding.
But yeah, I mean, this whole situation right now it's hard to be a Vikings fan right now, and
it,
it's not a
it,
lot
it,
of
it,
fun
it is
because
because
every
I
other team in the division is kind of like looking down on the team, and fans of every other team are just kind of like looking at Minnesota and being like, "We ain't scared of them," and I don't blame them really.
yeah, you shouldn't be scared of the Vikings right now. They haven't done anything.
Because while we're talking about all this, Minnesota's going to Green Bay next week.
Oh, I don't I don't see a win. That's a tough environment to play in, and they're a good team.
I haven't seen an update on Jordan Love's injury or anything like that. I think he came back in the game and played. But even if he doesn't play, their backup has played well, and honestly, I Green Bay's got a young team that keeps growing together, and they are going to be a force for many years, and I don't like that.
And it almost doesn't matter what season Green Bay is having. Anytime you got to go into Lambeau and play them, like that's just a tough environment, especially for a young quarterback like JJ McCarthy.
And right now, we don't know what the weather's going to be like in that game. Right now, I'm in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and we don't have snow on the ground right now for somehow, but maybe soon.
Yeah, we had snow earlier, and then it warmed up enough to melt it. But yeah, all week it's rainy and cold around here, so I'm expecting we'll have more of that coming in soon.
And will that weather dictate for the Minnesota Vikings to actually run the ball a little bit more?
I was going to say it might not be the worst thing in the world if the conditions were such that you want to lean on Aaron Jones in the ground game a little bit for the Vikings.
We got Jonathan here in chat talking about how he is not talking playoffs, but is wondering if a 500 season is still possible.
Well, where are we sitting right now?
We are 4-6.
4-6. So three. I mean, what? Can you win three more games this year?
And I think there are 3 division games left, right?
Yeah.
2 against the Packers, 1 against Detroit.
It's tough. I don't have the schedule right in front of me, but like, could this team win three more games? Yeah, it's the NFL. Yeah, we know they're talented. I mean, it all lies on the shoulders of JJ McCarthy. Like, he can't go out there and have these kind of performances where he's shit in the bed like that.
And don't forget, JJ McCarthy was the quarterback when the Minnesota Vikings defeated the Detroit Lions in a game that people gave Minnesota no chance to win.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that. I am on the never say never, but I am definitely going to be a little skeptical about this team being able to pull back to 500.
I
We
think they
got
can do it,
Anthony in
man.
chat wondering how we lost to the Bears. Well, here's the thing about the Chicago Bears. They are number 1 in the NFL in takeaways. They take that ball away from everybody. And yes, they have not beaten a team with a winning record. But, you also can't change the teams that are put on your schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So while we're looking at the Bears, they're doing what they need to do, even if they're come from behind wins against bad teams. They're getting wins, and right now I wish Minnesota could find a way to win games the way Chicago is.
What you're saying is the Bears are who we thought they are? Who we thought they were?
Well, there are seasons when
Or
the
we
ball bounces your
let
way,
them
and
off
there's
the hook?
seasons when the ball doesn't, and the Bears have had that ball bounce their way lately.
Right on. And I do think that they have a good head coach, and I do think that Caleb Williams is better than what he's given credit for.
Yeah, I do think that Caleb Williams gets a lot of crap for some of the stuff that he does as a human being. And I'm not sure that translates to a performance on the field whatsoever.
Yeah.
But people want it to.
Yeah,
One
I'm
nice
with you
thing
on
is
that
that
one.
this JJ McCarthy drama has kind of quieted down some of the drama in other realms. Like, I haven't heard people picking on the male cheerleaders or stuff like that in a while.
No, all that's kind of fell to the background.
No, it's all background noise there. I don't know why it was noise in the first place, to be honest.
Off-season noise.
But that's the way, the NFC North is that fans from each team will pick at other teams and, find ways to try to get under each other's skin. And I get it. I don't participate in it, but I get it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like how so many Minnesota Vikings fans are so anti-Packer, and I get it because it's a border battle. There's bragging rights at stake. This Sunday is going to be a big one for the bragging rights there. But I, like you, I don't see Minnesota coming out ahead on this one. I want them to.
It's a tough matchup. I could not bet on the Vikings, and I hate saying that because I always want to drink the purple Kool-Aid and I always want to believe in our team to go out
Right.
there and get the win. But just based on quarterback play alone, I'm not believing in JJ McCarthy right now.
Yeah, you don't want that Vikings defense on the field for, 35, 40 minutes against the Packers. That's not something you want.
Yeah.
We got Jonathan in chat here with a great question about is J.J. McCarthy going to be the quarterback that Kevin O'Connell whiffs on? And, you can only work magic so much, and if J.J. McCarthy is going to be the guy that Kevin O'Connell can't make work in Minnesota, it's going to be disappointing, but, at some point the magic runs out.
I mean, he's got the rest of this year for sure, regardless of what happens, to play and see. And I do think that he's got next year. Now, if he looks like crap for the rest of this year, that leash is going to be a lot shorter next season. But I do think that you look more seriously at bringing in a veteran or someone who's more of a competition, particularly if McCarthy looks bad. But it's not outside of the realm of possibility for 6 games into next year, McCarthy still looks like shit. We just pull him and move on. Like we've seen that happen in the league before.
And it's not a good time when you have Vikings legends like Chris Carter going on social media and talking about how
I know.
JJ doesn't look like the guy.
Yeah, I
That is
seen that.
definitely frustrating to see.
I just seen that quote from him where he was talking about, stop comparing McCarthy to Dante Culpepper.
Well, you're seeing too, like I think you alluded to it a little bit earlier, is a lot of players had uh, major struggles early in their career and ended up righting the ship. People point out like Peyton Manning and Troy
Josh
Aikman and some
Allen.
of these other guys, Josh
Josh
Allen, that
Allen,
just
yeah.
had a heck of a time earlier in their careers and put it together. Can JJ McCarthy be that guy? Because he is only 22.
I wish McCarthy, and now I'm talking out of both sides of my ass right now too, but I wish that there would have been a scenario in which McCarthy could have maybe been drafted into a situation like the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers thing. McCarthy right now really feels like he needed 2, 3 seasons to just sit on the bench and play some preseason and just work behind the scenes before he got ready to be put onto the field and played. Unfortunately, that's just not the way the league is situated anymore, Adam. If you're drafted in the first round, you're expected to play almost immediately.
Right. And when you look at JJ McCarthy, one of the first things you see is really low passing yard numbers and a lot of turnovers. And those two things together are going to make you the scapegoat by a lot of Minnesota Vikings fans when you're not
Yeah.
contributing, more touchdowns than interceptions or, at least 200 yards a game. And we got Wes in here talking about how he comes up big in the fourth quarter, but just needs to do it all 4 quarters. And do you know what? I'm with you on this, but I don't know how he's going to be able to mentally put himself in the situation where he gets in that mindset where he needs to do things and he goes out there and does them, and I don't
And
know how he can put that together for a whole game.
yeah, that's what Adam and I were talking about earlier in the show too. There, Wes, is that I'm right with you on that one. I really want to see a full performance from JJ McCarthy, where you go, man, he looked really good that whole game, and even if he doesn't throw for 300 yards and 2, 3 touchdowns, you can at least go, well, he didn't have any picks, and like the ball was on time and on rhythm, and he did what he was supposed to do, and we won the football game, and he looked like he belonged out there on the field. Like that's the bar that I'm asking him to clear right now, and it's not a very high hurdle.
Right now, the major problem I see is that's something that he can be sat down and talked to about is just bombing the ball up deep when he sees a receiver might have a step and making it a 50-50 ball. Especially if there's two defenders nearby, that needs to stop.
I was listening to one of the podcasts I was listening to where they were talking about McCarthy seems to be waiting for receivers to flash open before he throws the ball to them, which in the NFL, we all know, we hear this from every quarterback who's had any success, is that it's about timing and rhythm, and you have to throw your receivers open in this
Yeah.
league. You have to know where they're going, where they're going to cut, and put the ball there. Like, you can't wait for them to flash open because they don't. Those windows don't happen in the NFL.
But like I said earlier, too, the offensive line did a great job protecting McCarthy in this game. No sacks, very little pressure. I know he took a hit here and there, but the offensive line, I feel, has been doing a pretty good job of protecting him, and it's not like Minnesota doesn't have weapons for him to get the ball to. So it's all about, for me, it's all about JJ McCarthy putting it together right now, and I hope I can see it happen this season, but I am not sure.
Heck yeah, I'm with you on that one, Adam. I think Donovan Jackson has been a pretty damn good draft pick for the Vikings so far. Like he seems like he's going to have a nice, bright future for the team, and it's so hard when you're trying to, as a fan, grade an offensive lineman on good performance, bad performance.
Right.
Uh, so we probably don't talk about Donovan Jackson as much as what we should, but I think that he's been playing pretty darn good football for the Vikings overall.
Absolutely. But like we said, the Vikings take on the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field next week, and we'll be back to talk about that one. Do you got anything else you want to talk about, Mr. West?
Um, for the Green Bay game, you got to lean on Aaron Jones. You got to lean on the ground game. I think that that's your ticket to success. And I think that you're this. If I'm Kevin O'Connell, I am simplifying this offense as much as possible for JJ McCarthy at this stage in his career, to the point where it's like, here is your read. If your read is not there, throw the ball away, or you're going to scramble out. Like we are simplifying this shit as much as possible for him because we need McCarthy to gain his confidence.
We needed all those trick plays out of the playbook.
Truly, yes, we do. No more, no trick plays, no wildcat, no Justin Jefferson throwing passes. Like that all needs to be gone.
So like Andrew says here, we got to be able to take our lumps this year, and that's what it's going to be. We got to look ahead and see, yeah, there's going to be some pain coming in the next few weeks, but hopefully it's worth it.
And that statement includes us as Vikings fans as well too. Like we have to be willing to take our lumps this year and kind of sit through this growing process, because wouldn't the absolute doomsday scenario here be that we gave up on JJ McCarthy as an organization after this year and said, you know what, we're moving on, we're going in a different direction. And let's say Sean McVay picks him up, and then
Right.
he gets to sit and develop for a season or two, and then he comes out and he wins the Super Bowl for the Rams because we gave up on him too soon.
Oh
Like
boy, sitting behind Matthew Stafford is a great situation for him.
that'd be a fantastic situation for him. Like I don't want that to happen with McCarthy. So like that's my big moment of Zen takeaway, is that while I am frustrated with him too, we said it at the top of the hour, the top of the show, he only has played 5 games in the NFL. 5. Like you have to give the kid more of an opportunity before you say one way or the other what he is going to be.
Absolutely, I'm not ready to say he's not the guy, but I need a little bit of proof that he is the guy.
I want him to succeed so bad.
But we'll be back next week to talk about that game against Green Bay, no matter what happens. Hopefully, we'll be able to have Mr. Smith with us and make it a full show.
Heck yeah.
But thank you to everyone who joined us in chat. We love having you guys here. And we appreciate it when you can join in the conversation. We love all that. You can check us out wherever podcasts are. You can check out the full, slate of podcasts over on YouTube. Otherwise, wherever you listen to podcasts, you'll probably find us. You can check out my work over on the Viking Age, or hit me up on social media at MNVikingZombie, just like it says on the screen if you're on our YouTube right now. And you can hit up Mr. West on Blue Sky.
Blue Sky at Vaguely Square is my platform of choice. I do not have the banner ready, and I guess what? I'm not going to type one up.
No,
Adam.
we don't need that.
You
Forget
can't.
that
You
banner
can't
stuff.
stop. You can't stop me. You can't make me type.
But yeah, we hope to see you next week. And in the meantime, stay close.